Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Privacy Please. Cameron Ivy here, hanging out with Mr. Gabe Gums. Gabe, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you, Mr. Ivy?
Doing well. Had a little storm roll through. You probably had some effects from that, and
When it rains, it pours.
it does indeed. And it also lightnings. And
When you live in the lightning capital of the world, that's a thing. That is a
is
real thing.
is that why they're called the Tampa Bay Lightning?
I think it might be. It might have a tiny bit to do with it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. A world champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. Is that what's
That's
up?
right. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
It
yeah.
seems to be that even Florida Panthers. I mean, we've had some. The NHL has been owned by Florida teams, which is funny.
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of Canucks that visit down this way, but Lord knows you couldn't freeze an ice cube on the coldest day of the year down there.
No, I bet it makes so many Canadians mad. But hey,
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
it's the tax. It's the tax stuff that
I
people
think at
love.
the moment they're far angry about other things.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. We should
Shout
read the
out,
line
shout
there.
out to our Canadian brethren north of the border.
Shout out, Canadians are still. We still love you.
Yes,
Even if
yes.
there's.
And your geese, we love you, Bo.
It's true. Yeah. Canadian bacon. I like that.
Well,
I don't even know if that is that American. It's just called Canadian bacon.
Probably like French fries. It's probably on the list.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, freedom
Well,
fries.
there's a couple things that have been going on in the security and privacy space that we'll just kind of touch on. First, we'll talk about. We'll just throw it out there. So, one of the biggest settlements for the CCPA right now is the Healthline $1.55 million settlement under the CCPA. Gabe, I don't know if you heard of this. It's kind of recent. It just came out.
Was that a? Do you know? And you may not know. I hadn't. I've heard of it, but I hadn't had a chance to really dig into it. Was that a percentage of revenue of some sorts, or just a fine based on like number of records? I'm curious because, to be honest, 1.5 doesn't really sound like a deterrence for doing better.
Yeah, that's a good question because it says Healthline Media agreed to a record $1.55 million settlement with the CCPA for violating the let's see what they say specifically. Resolves claims that Healthline shared sensitive user data with advertisers and data brokers without proper consent and opt-out mechanisms. Classic.
I was going to say it's par for the course. I mean, we know lots of folks continue to still engage in those type of non-compliance behaviors, usually not intentionally.
Right.
A lack of guardrails internally tends to be behind this more often than not. You know, the average business isn't intentionally trying to be non-compliant or, for that matter, even unethical. Say what you might about capitalism. But 1.5 still just doesn't seem like the guardrail I would want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's really not that much. You're right. So here are three things that this will kind of shed light on some more specifics. So they're paying this fine due to a couple reasons. So
And this was Mainline Health?
Healthline Media. So prohibiting the sale or sharing of personal information linked to specific medical diagnosis, providing notice and the right to limit the use and disclosure of sensitive personal information before sharing it for advertising, and implementing a program to assess the functionality of opt-out mechanisms and ensure third-party contracts meet CCPA requirements. Those are the three things that they did not do.
Right.
Which are pretty big. I mean, that's
pretty big.
Yeah. It's pretty important.
That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. You know, back of the napkin search suggests that Healthline is a wildly profitable business with, revenues in the high double digit millions, and profits that aren't that far off of that. So, that again goes right back to that. I'm never really a fan of compliance being the first guardrail for these kinds of challenges. And I'm not certain that imposing record breaking or otherwise 1.5 million is really a deterrence to others.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's more information on why. I mean, I wish they would kind of break down why that number, why only
Right.
that.
How
It
did they
sounds like
settle on that? Like GDPR, for example, their fines are, if I'm not mistaken, they're based on a percentage of revenue, right?
right because
Yeah.
this. I mean, the last one before this was what 1.2 million, which was the Sephora one that we were talking about earlier,
Right.
and that was back in 22. But what's funny is this was also. Oh wait. Oh okay. Yeah. They were mentioning it. So some of the trying to see if there's any more like specific details. So this is the first US first US regulatory privacy enforcement action where a company has been fined for disclosing inferred sensitive data. What's in
Inferred. So
so
not direct, but it means that they may have been able to de-anonymize individuals based on it. I mean, inference and de-anonymization are kissing cousins, so I'm drawing a straight line there, but it means that they were able to infer who Cameron Ivory was without direct reference to who Cameron Ivory was.
right. Yeah,
That's
it says
extra naughty, yeah.
inferred based on articles read is what
Interesting.
I don't know. This is interesting. So, and obviously, we're dealing with health related data. I don't know the company that I've never really honestly heard of them before.
There are about a billion healthcare companies none of us have heard of, and they're
Right.
all
That's
making
true.
ungodly amounts of money.
Oh, what? Yeah, we can sell you all of these personal health information for a lot of money, and
Yeah, then
that's
not
it.
pay out claims. Yeah,
Just
we can
give
do
it
that.
to you, and you
We can
can
do that.
use it. All right,
Yeah, no problem.
that sounds like a good idea. All right, let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's go. What are we doing?
Now, my other question is are the people that made that decision still there, or are they gone
Oh,
already?
come on, they're still there.
And they're not going to be. There's
For what
no
it's worth, again, I'm not even. I'm not even sure. I'm inclined to levy blame upon those individuals. Right, like I said, I'm. It's hard to prove malice, and I don't usually wake up in the morning and assign malice to these types of things. Just most people wake up and they just want to do their jobs. They want to do it well. They want to be compensated fairly, and they want to go home.
right.
That's not everyone, of course, but I don't necessarily subscribe to the, all of these folks are evil even when they're dealing with data brokers. Although all data brokers, on the other hand, I might not have the same appreciation for. Um,
Yeah.
but I also don't have a strong appreciation for people that like sell drugs. So whatever. Yes, I'm equating the two. Yes, they're both damaging to the community for freak's sake.
Hey,
Um,
I mean, you got to put food on the table somehow.
Well, yeah, I understand. I understand. I understand.
I'm
Even
just
scumbags have to eat, right? Like,
uh,
yeah.
no, that's
Let them eat
interesting.
cake. So yeah, I don't know that those individuals should be held personally accountable. We obviously don't know enough about it,
Right.
but I certainly don't know what the future for CCPA is. If this is the signals we're going to send to businesses to protect our data, I don't know that this signal is the right signal to send. It seems quite, in my personal and professional opinion, it might be the exact wrong signal to send. And I'm not
Mm.
suggesting you fine them into oblivion such that they go out of business, but I don't know. Maybe we need more, DOJ style actions where you know what? Now we are going to embed a data privacy officer from the government into your business for the next 18 months to make sure that you know what to do well, not to babysit, but to help you.
To that point, I was just thinking, well, maybe they got this number because based on how much information they had sold.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like maybe because it's based off of, isn't it like a percentage per word or per letter or something like that?
Yeah, I don't
I think it's per
recall.
word.
Yeah.
Um, Listeners or anybody out there that knows, I mean, shoot us a message or you can always come on and talk further about it. That's more knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. But I think that makes sense. I would make sense to, but they should tack on to whatever else I don't know. I think you're onto something there, because it's like, well, if it's just a slap on the wrist,
Eh,
and we made, how much did they make on selling
right.
that data?
Anytime
Like,
the cost of doing business exceeds the cost of the fine substantially,
right,
that's that's just uh, that's just a luxury tax, really.
right. And the other thing is like, it's not going to affect them, and like, oh well, these consumers aren't going to trust this company now. It's like, it doesn't matter. They already have your information.
That cat's so far out of the box.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I'm glad that there's,
I'm glad CCPA exists in some form at
sure,
least now. You are correct. Prior to the enactment of that regulation, there'd be zero
yeah,
repercussions and recourse. There'd just be a little salacious article, and
right,
maybe we don't even mention it on the show, and others aren't informed. Then everyone keeps it moving, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Um, I know that there was like, well, we can touch on this. We'll do a couple other special episodes. This is a little bit shorter, of course, but we just wanted to kind of dive into that, and on this episode. But we'll have another one coming out. Gabe will talk about, well, we'll both talk about, but there was a recent hack. It was one of the largest ones in history.
There were a few. Yeah, we're going to
A
dive into
few.
the details and peel back the curtain on one of the larger hacks of modern times, certainly, maybe ever, um, of epic proportions. Quite frankly, yeah. I've got some information, and I've been having some conversations with some folks, both near and far to the scenario, and yeah, we'll lay that out for our listeners.
Yeah, because this is gonna surpass Equifax, right? I think it was Google, Apple. I don't know. We'll get into it on the next episode, but um, let's just say it was pretty massive. Anyways,
Indeed,
Gabe, always a pleasure.
a pleasure indeed.
Listeners,
Happy 4th of July to everyone out there.
yes.
Happy 249th to the Union.
Hope everybody has a safe weekend, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Don't put any fireworks in your buttocks or between your fingertips, and
Do
yeah,
not do that.
don't do that. Don't
Don't
do
do that.
that. Don't do that.
You don't want
Privacy,
nubs. Nobody
please.
wants nubs. Come
No
on.
one wants nubs in either
Sorry.
location. We out.
Be safe.